I'd rather die than do some things on repeat. I like to build stuff. But the most profitable businesses are boring. I want you to avoid the spaghetti style business, like when you just throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks. Dealing with last minute cancellations, team issues, resignations, my goodness, that come out of no warning, come out of nowhere. Burnout doesn't have to mean that you're failing. It's just an indicator, and it means you need better systems. That's how you get growth. Hey, welcome back to the Salon Owners Collective podcast. Today we are diving into something that can really make or break your journey as a salon CEO, and that is burnout. So if you've ever thought, I just want to sell my salon and get the heck out, well, you're not alone. In fact, I've been there at least 5 times in my career, and every time it was because I was overwhelmed and actually, frankly, just exhausted and really just stuck in a cycle of firefighting, rather than leading. The reality is burnout doesn't just happen because we're working hard. It happens because we're working hard without direction. So today I'm going to break down exactly why burnout happens, the traps we fall into as salon owners, and most importantly, how to avoid it so we can build a thriving, profitable, successful salon that runs, without you, without sacrificing yourself in the process. So let's cover why burnout actually happens. And burnout happens when we're constantly reacting instead of leading. It's like trying to run your business while putting out fire after fire, dealing with last minute cancellations, team issues, resignations, my goodness, that come out of no warning, come out of nowhere. Stock shortages, there's a never ending to-do list of systems and processes to improve. And when you're in this reactive state, it's really easy to feel like you're drowning. And a salon owner I worked with just recently said to me, I was just firefighting all day, every day. Does it relate? So she was building an amazing team, her books were full, but she actually felt completely drained at the end of every day and end of every week. And it just felt like, oh my God, I'm on the mouse wheel, and when will I ever get off? Because she was handling everything herself. Client complaints, team management, marketing, stock ordering, we wear all of the hats. And she had no system in place. So let's talk about one of the biggest burnout traps. Well, there's 3 things that I see. One is that there's too many cans open. That's a syndrome. I've had that syndrome. And you're trying to fix everything all at once, tackling every problem all at once, and ultimately spreading yourself too thin. For me, I'm that entrepreneurial type that can see all the problems, and I can see all the things that need to be fixed, and I've got ideas on how to fix them. And so I am definitely one of the too many cans open people if I'm not careful and don't manage myself. The problem is, though, we spread ourselves too thin. And without a clear strategy, we get stuck in survival mode, making decisions on the fly, and we get into decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is a thing. We're only allocated so many decisions on any given day, and when we hit our limit, that's it. And we get into decision fatigue. But it keeps us on the mouse wheel, and it keeps us overwhelmed because we have too many decisions to make, too many cans open. It's definitely a syndrome. The other one is the growth spiral without structure. So rapid growth without systems can lead to real chaos. So if you've got rapid growth in your business and you haven't had the time or the inclination or the infrastructure to put in systems along the way to scaffold the growth, more team members, more clients, and more money should mean success, right? But without structure, without infrastructure, it just means more stress. The third one is a lack of forward momentum. And when you're stuck in the day-to-day just trying to survive and make ends meet, and it feels like you're running on the treadmill, hard work, sometimes we need to do, and we need to double down and do hard work, but it needs to lead somewhere. But if you're always fixing the problems and you're not progressing, this is the fastest way to burnout. And I think that's the most devastating burnout because you're not making forward momentum. At least the growth spiral without structure as you're in momentum, you're getting growth, is just messy. And if you've got too many cans open, it's because you've got purpose to your busyness. You're trying to fix problems. But if you're trying to do it without strategy, it's just scatterbrained and everywhere, and you get fatigue, decision fatigue primarily. But the one with lack of forward momentum, like that one's a bit soul destroying because we're busy doing the do and we're not getting anywhere. And that's the most common one to just like, screw this, I am out. So I want to introduce you to another 80-20 rule, but really I think this one is the secret to sustainable success, because I believe the key to building a successful, stress-free salon is finding the right balance between structure and creativity. Like most of us are creative entrepreneurs, right? There's a piece of us that wants to build something. And I call this the 80-20 rule for sustainable salon success, especially for salon owners, because that's where I've been. So 80% of your business time, energy, and resource should be doing the boring but profitable tasks. Most profitable salons are actually rather boring. Let me explain. Because when you create something and it starts to run like a well-oiled machine, if you're anything like me, creative entrepreneur, I hate to run well-oiled machines. I love to make well-oiled machines, but I don't want to be stuck oiling the machine or turning the knob or just doing things on repeat. I'd rather die than do some things on repeat. I like to build stuff. But the most profitable businesses are boring because they're well-oiled machines. And this means that we have a system for fully booked days with predictable income, structured systems like stock ordering, so no one's making shit up every time. There's a system, follow the system. Regular team meetings, like with clear expectations so your team thrive. Like you've worked out what works, run the team meeting, do it the same all the time, be consistent so your team can thrive. Marketing strategies like that actually get bums on seats. Once you work that out, you need to do that on repeat. Like be consistent. Systems like a talent development engine and a 100K career pathway. Like these mean that you don't need to be making team decisions on the fly and someone says, can I have a pay rise? And you go, oh, but I liked Jemima. I'm going to give her $1. Right? Talent development engines and systems and processes like that are going to set you free. But once you've created the system, installed the system, it's not glamorous, but it works. So instead of reinventing the wheel every month, the goal here is to create a repeatable, profitable system. Like find out what works and put it on the repeat. And be comfortable that 80% of your business is going to be structured and systemized and on repeat. And if you're a creative entrepreneur, that's a little bit boring. So suck it up, sweetheart, because 20% of your life is going to be creative, inspiring, and exciting. And as creative entrepreneurs, we crave that. We want that creativity and that outlet to do something new and fresh. We love the thrill of launching new systems, processes, trying out fresh ideas, improving our brand. This is why it's essential to dedicate a whole 20% of your time to it, like innovating your services or re-updating your vision for the business. Like if you're a goal achiever, like I am, I achieve the vision and then I'm like, oh, what am I going to do now? I have to create a new one. So experimenting with new marketing strategies, maybe refining your client experience and how to engage your team to constantly do better, developing new ways to inspire and ensure the team don't outgrow you, adopting new technology, learn new skills, like engage in a business growth program like Salon Mastery, go for 3 days to Fiji and connect with other owners, get inspired, like refill your tank. Brainstorming, like ways to scale and grow the business. This creative energy, like this is what keeps us going. This is what keeps us excited. As long as we're in momentum, as long as we're in forward momentum, then we want to be creating new and driving forward. And it stops us as leaders and the business from being stale. Like nobody wants to follow a dead boring, uninspired, boring business boss. Don't be a boring business boss. We want to be an inspired, innovative, exciting person that people want to follow us. And so we need to invest in ourselves to do that. So we feel inspired and we feel like driving forward. And when people listen to us, they're like, oh, wow, she kind of knows where we're going and what we're doing. I want to be part of that. So I want to give you 3 steps to keep your salon in forward momentum. So you ready? Get a pen, write this down. I just wanted to quickly interrupt you and say, hey, a quick thank you. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you're loving this episode. But let me ask you, have you ever felt like you reached the top of the mountain only to realize there's another even bigger peak ahead? So if you have hit the $1 million revenue mark already, but suddenly the strategies that got you here aren't really working anymore, growth is slowed, you're making bigger decisions, managing a larger team, and the weight of it all, well, it's a lot. It's exactly why I created the Salon Mastery Boardroom, and it's an exclusive place designed especially for salon CEOs like you, where you've gained a high level of achievement already. In the boardroom, we discuss high-level strategies, leadership insights, business model shifts, and things that we need to reach the next big milestone. Sometimes you just need a new milestone. Inside of Boardroom, you'll also be surrounded by powerhouse women and men, a powerhouse of community and other $1 million plus salon owners sharing insights, challenges, breakthroughs, because scaling to multi-million dollars, well, you shouldn't have to do it alone. So if you're ready to take your salon and your leadership to the next level, let's talk. I'd love to invite you to a complimentary $1 million strategy call. We'll map out your next steps, explore how Boardroom can support your journey. All you need to do is click now. I've put it in the show notes of this episode. Let's talk about your business and see if we're the right people to help you with your next step. All right, well, that's enough for me. And let's get back to the episode. Have a clear, structured game plan. Now, burnout happens when you're working hard, but you're not making progress. I mentioned that before. Too many owners are throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping like something sticks, or they're just looking for the one magic bullet. Have you ever done that? Like, just keep searching for the thing that's going to solve all your problems. You probably don't even realize, but it's like, what's the new thing I can try to solve the problems? Not because it lights us up, because we're just trying to fix a pain. And we're looking for the silver bullet. And that will be the one thing that solves all of the problems. And we as business owners, we can get a bit fixated on that. But actually, it's a combination of all the things. In fact, there's actually 9 things. There's 9 drivers, 9 parts of the business. And we call them drivers because they drive the business forward, that we need to optimize and have working like clockwork. Systems and processes wrapped around those 9 drivers. And to be fair, sometimes 9 different departments in the business to get them working well, it can feel a bit like, the elephant in the room, because it can feel big, it can feel huge. And so like, where do we start eating the elephant? And so it's much easier to go and look for the quick win. Let's just go and scroll on Instagram and see if I can find some kind of fancy schmancy strategy, or just put my head in the sand, actually. That's really what scrolling is, right? But I want you to avoid the biscotti, I was going to say. Isn't that what we say when we're like 5? I want you to avoid the spaghetti style business, like when you just throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks. And instead, you want a structured plan, like chunk up that elephant. What's the saying go? Like eat the elephant one bite at a time. And a little bit of foresight. We need a little bit of foresight that it can take time to chunk through 9 bites of the elephant. And I mention foresight because I remember when I had my second baby, I thought, okay, I've been through one baby now. I know how to do that. I kind of got that nailed. You never have it nailed. But anyway, it's another story. Last time I didn't have baby number 1, I didn't have foresight that the baby would grow up and I would be out of the baby phase and the nappy phase. Like, it just felt like it went on forever. Don't get me wrong. I loved my baby. But I didn't have the foresight. So second time I was like, I got this. I know how to make him sleep in 3 months. I know how to do the things. Well, I didn't have the foresight. Second time round, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be trapped in this baby phase forever. It sounds silly to say now. So it's a skill to be able to have foresight, that to be systematic and bite one thing at a time and just go through the phases, just like you've got the baby phase and then the toddler phase and then the preschool phase. Like growing a business, it has phases. And you need some foresight that is going to take some time. And you don't want to go and start the kindergarten or the college phase before you've done the baby phase. So you need a game plan, And that game plan needs to be chunked down into 60 days. Now, quarterly planning, it's a thing that people do. I don't like quarterly planning. It's too long. Quarterly planning is too long, 3 months. I like a 60-day plan. It's a 2-month plan. And in 2 months, you've got enough bites of the elephant to make progress, feel like you're in momentum, but not feel overwhelmed. Because when I got too much stuff on my list, it overwhelms me. So it can give us, having a really clear plan gives us some calm that we have the plan. It also gives us permission to not do that while I do this, right? And you can park it instead of trying to fix everything at once. Focus on 2 or 3 major priorities, like actually just 2. Get those done, because if you've done earlier than in 2 months, you can go and pick up something else, like you have permission to do that. But it gives us permission to execute well. So a salon owner I've just been working with recently, she was constantly changing her prices, changing the branding. Like, I think if I change the branding and the sign on the window, everything will be better. Changed her services, rechanged the pricing, and she was stuck, right? And she was stuck because she had never stuck with one thing long enough to ensure that she saw the results. And she implemented the 60-day plan with us, game plan, and because we encouraged her to stick with and follow through to actually implement all the way through, instead of just saying like, oh shit, I tried that once or twice and it's not working, and then moving on to the next thing. So we really encouraged her to stick with it and keep adjusting the system, the process, and tweaking until you actually find what works. And then you install it as a system. Test, refine, test, refine, test, refine. Once you know, okay, this shit works now, I'm getting results, create a system, put a system into place. That's how you get growth. Okay, so that was just number 1. Number 1 is like, have a clear and structured plan. Number 2 is systemize and delegate. Like, you shouldn't do everything yourself, but most salon owners know how to develop a system or know what to do in any case. And I think the hard thing is making it easy. Like, simple is best. I think we overcomplicate things too quickly, and we think that this creating systems and processes in our business must be this fancy thing, and we overcomplicate it. So instead, we just need to capture like the repeatable things that we do, and the way that we, for example, like the way that we address clients as they walk in. Like, ensure everybody knows how to do that. What do they say? Do they speak over the reception, or do they come around the reception and greet face to face? Do we have eye contact? What do we say? Like, that's a system. It's a simple system. And then we just need to keep our people accountable to it, like make sure that they are doing it. Too many owners I speak to when I first meet them is like, they say, I taught my team how to do the greet the client system. So, okay, well, when did you tell them last? Oh, we did it like 2 years ago. I'm like, okay, when did you last check up that everyone was doing it and doing it to the system? And when was the last time you taught them? Oh, no, I just told them on the day 2 years ago. It's like, okay, no. What we want to do is we want to tell them, okay, this is how we go. Teach them how to do it, watch that they're doing it, follow up that they're doing it. What gets attention gets done. And if they don't do it, pull them up. And when they do it, praise them. Hey, I saw you greeting Jemima as she walked in the door. You did it perfectly. You said exactly the right thing. Look how happy Jemima was when she came in as a client into the salon. Okay, praise them when they do something good. And when she doesn't do it, hey, I saw Jemima, the client came in and you spoke to her over the reception. Do you remember that time when we talked about how we do the system? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, overtrain your team, over-communicate. And then if you've got the system and process, everybody knows you're following up, following through, you're redirecting when they get it wrong, then you can document your process and overtrain your team. And finally, step back, get the heck out of their way, other than catching them doing it right and redirecting them when they don't, obviously. So then you can ask yourself, like, what are the tasks that only you can do? And anything outside of that, you need a system and a repeatable, responsible team member who can look after that system. So last year I coached a salon owner who hated managing inventory. Like, I'm with you. I'm with her. I hate managing inventory. I gave that system away as quickly as I could. Anyway, for her, it was the same. It drained her, the sort of attention and focus that it needed and doing the numbers. So we built a little system for her senior stylist who took over the stock. She took over the ordering. She had a schedule. She had a budget. She had levels. And instantly one major stressor was off her plate. She didn't have to think about it because she thought about it before she did it. She hated it while she did it, and then she thought how much she hated it after she did it. So all she needed to do now was meet the stylist once a month, adjust the stock budget depending on what's been sold, look at the levels together and just get the stylist to stick to the levels, and then check that everything had been entered to correct, again, like praise her when she's done it right, redirect her when she got it slightly wrong. And the rest of the time, she just went about doing other things like growing her business. Okay. So really, we want to systemize and delegate. Like that's your job as a CEO, systemize and delegate. All right, number 3, keep 20% of your time for growth and inspiration. So don't let your business become just about ticking off daily tasks, weekly tasks, monthly tasks. You really want to have some dedicated time to vision, strategy, and innovation. That's that 20% that's going to keep the spark. So I think set aside a day per week or a month if you're not there yet, or even a quarter if you're just full. Just start where you can for creative things that you can do that are going to light you up. Like this has got to fuel you. This is your fuel. So maybe it's attending industry events, or maybe it's going to a coaching call, get some ideas. Maybe it's a workshop or a session. Maybe you're traveling overseas to interesting, industry events or interesting places in the world, and all on the work budget, of course. Maybe it's just some time to go in a room, lock yourself in a room with some pen and some paper and some colored, crayons, and just brainstorm. Brainstorm what's going to be for the year. You need some big paper, a big space, and a big picture thinker people with you. So we do this regularly as a leadership team. And so we also teach our owners to do the same. So an owner that we did this with just recently, she was on the verge of burnout, which is actually what inspired this podcast, because she was way too stuck in daily operations. And we set her to have Fridays that were her creative days. And so when she was on a Friday, she's only just started, she's 3 weeks in now, we worked on what are the exciting projects, like launching a membership program. That's the first one. And the second one she's going to do is installing My Next Pay Rise program for her team. So she's got a real clear pathway, game plan, on what she's going to do on the Fridays. And already it's re-energizing her. And she it really gave her something to look forward to. And she's also decided she's going to start early on Fridays and then finish early so she can go to the gym before she picks up the kids. She really wants to be able to pick up the kids and have that quality time, especially on a Friday. And her husband agreed to take the kids on Friday mornings to school so she can start early, get out the door early, have a full day of creative stuff, still finish early. And now she's happy. And the husband's playing ball too. That kind of feels important. So my final thoughts are burnout is not inevitable. Salon owners, burnout doesn't have to mean that you're failing. It's just an indicator, and it means you need better systems, maybe a bit more variety. And the key is to structure your business so it works for you, not the other way around. And then when you're stuck, frickin' heck, get some help. And because I think, as a business owner, we're in our own goldfish bowl, and it's really hard to see out because we're just swimming around, looking at all the problems in front of us. And it's really useful to have someone on the outside of the goldfish bowl to get some help and some perspective, and even just get some fresh ideas, so you can get back into momentum. Because being in momentum, which is forward growth, you're moving forward towards something and there's some fun in it, like that's an exciting place to be. So let me ask you, are you stuck in the burnout trap? Like if you're nodding going, I think I am. Or if are you building a business that fuels you? Like, are you excited to go to your business? And if you're ready to build a profitable, sustainable salon without burning out, well, maybe we should just chat. You're very welcome to book a strategy call with me or one of my team. Let's map out a bit of a plan to get you back on track, back in momentum. All you need to do is click the link. I'm going to put it in the show notes of this episode. It's all over the website. It's actually pretty easy to find. Let's get to work. All right. Hey, hope this has been useful. I hope you've done some nodding. Look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week on the podcast. Ciao for now.